Welcome to the videos on the European air quality policy. Today we discuss the transposition of the European air quality policy in various member states with local experts. How is the policy transposed? And what are the main instruments used to realize the goals of this policy? Welcome to Katina Bonjeva, attorney at law of Ikimiev and Partners and representative of the Association for European Integration and Human Rights in Plovdiv, Bulgaria. Ingrid Winter from the Air Quality Control Office of the Regional Government of Steiermark in Graz, Austria. Giorgio Arduino from the Emissions and Environmental Risk Office of the region of Piemonte in Torino, Italy. And Cor Lamers, Mayor of the Municipality of Schiedam from the Netherlands. Let's start. I was wondering about, let's say, the European air quality policy, how this directive was transposed in Bulgaria and what kind of, let's say, main legal measures were adopted.
The environmental policy of the European Union or air quality is transposed in Bulgaria in two main laws. The first one is the Environment Protection Act and the other one is the Clean Ambient Air Act. We are also having a number of ordinances, one of which is directly implementing the Directive 2008-50 and on the pollutants in the ambient air. And looking at the law strictly, the European legislation in the field of the environment and air quality is pretty well transposed in Bulgaria.
Could you briefly summarize how the air quality policy, the European air quality policy, is transposed in the Netherlands?
We see three levels of transposing. First, the Ambient Air Directive of 2008. On the national level, we've got the Wet Milieubeheer, the Environmental Management Act of the same year. But we have also the National Air Quality Program. That's the developing program under the legislation.
How is the European policy on clean air transposed in Austria?
The European Air Quality Directive was fully transposed at the federal level in the Austrian Federal Emission Control Act. And this Federal Emission Control Act then includes some obligations for the provinces.
Yes, and did the regional government of Steiermark itself also needed to transpose certain aspects?
Yes, because Steiermark has some regions where the European limit values are not met, and we call that zones target zones. I don't know what the right word in English is. And for such areas or zones, target zones, we have to make plans how to improve air quality to a level that is acceptable on both the national and the European level. So the first step is to ascertain the status quo in these regions. The second is to release an action plan with measures to improve the air quality, and these measures, air quality plans, have to be legally binding. So we have to lay down an ordinance on the province level, which is the legal basis for our air quality plans. And if necessary, we also have to compile emission catasters where we include the meteorological situation, the emittance of the pollutants, the concentrations of pollution, and so on.
How was the European policy on clean air transposed in Italy? And to what extent did the region Piemonte need to transpose also parts of the European directive?
We have implemented at the national level with a legal act that is called Decreto Legislativo 155-155. So this means that it's valid in 2010, and this is valid in all the territory of the Italian Republic. I don't know if as you know, we have a sort of federation, so we are 21 different regions, and every one region is mandatory to implement in his own legislation the same approach. So this means that some regions have already implemented in my region, we have started in advance, so we implemented in 2000, obviously not at the same level, but we have not produced another legal act at the regional level. But so this means that we have one regional law that is called number 43 in 2000 that give a sort of mandate to the regional government to up-to-date this legislation with a common piece of law that have not to be conferred by the regional parliament. We call the DGR, so decision from the regional government. So we have several DGR that cover all the aspects of means emission reduction of emission, traffic rulement, domestic heating, or industrial emission, and so far and so on. But all these DGR, so decision from the regional government, are by law strictly linked to the regional law. And this is the same situation in all regions of the Italian Republic.
What kind of, let's say, instruments were made available in order to realize the objectives of the Air Quality Directive?
The main instrument is what I called the National Air Quality Cooperation Program. It's a national level with a monitoring system behind it. On the regional and the local level, we make our own plans, which are part of the national program. And for instance, in the Rhineland area, where Schiedam is orientated, we have a close cooperation with different local governments, and we organize our own regional plan. I can mention an example. In the Netherlands, we introduced, like Germany, the system to point environmental zones to keep the most polluting vehicles out of specific areas in the city.
The most important instruments laid down in our Styrian Clean Air Act are the possibilities to ban certain vehicles from the roads. So we did it, for instance, for heavy good vehicles. We have restrictions to the use of diesel-driven taxis in the city of Graz. Further possibilities in our legal framework are, for instance, to ban or to restrict the use of light fuel oils in heatings. What we did also is to ban the leaf blowers in the urban areas of Graz and Leibniz. Another legal instrument gives us the possibility to make obligations in order to prevent the emission of ammonia from agricultural installations.
But what are now the main instruments used in Bulgaria in order to achieve the objectives of the clean air policy?
Of course, the first thing is to identify the source of the problem and then to think about the relevant measures that could effectively solve that problem, and then again to think about a step-by-step plan to respond to needs. And as the main polluting sources in Plovdiv are concerned with four major factors. That's the transport, that's the heating systems used by the private persons, I mean stoves working on solid fuels mainly. That's the condition of the roads and the public areas, and that's also the green system of the city. It's normal that the issues define the instruments that the municipality uses or plans to use in order to combat with the problem. In the field of transport, for example, the plan of the Plovdiv municipality, the plan and the program it provides for changing the vehicles for public transport and those used by the municipality itself to EU3 standards. It also has planning for making bicycle lanes, optimizing traffic organization, etc. It is also planned that the municipality buildings to be gasified, and I do not only mean that the buildings that are used for the administration, where the administration works, but also some municipality kindergartens, and also schools.
Right.
That's the main means to solve the problem.
In my region, that is in the Po Valley, and is in the bottom of the Po Valley, because we are completely close, have shared to the industry limit very, very ambitious things before the old legislation. On the other hand, for example, we have put in force some limitation for traffics, but we don't have a lot of success. So we have only a low emission zone, but that for several political reasons only enforce from 7 in the morning till 10:30 in the morning. So the city center of Torino is forbidden, so no admission, but only for few hours. That means that after 10:30, everybody can drive even in the city center. We are preparing a new air quality plan in which we have in mind to put in for more robust limitation for the traffic and especially other limitation from the biomass combustion.
What I find interesting is that the municipality of Schiedam is autonomous in a certain way in implementing certain measures, but you, together with other municipalities in the Rijnmond area, work together.
It is necessary because we call it a multi-level approach, multi-level cooperation. It's a European issue, but it's also a Dutch issue. On the local level, I can't take measures when the source policy in Europe is not in order.
And maybe just for my information and for all this, what kind of, let's say, measures are we talking about when we had this kind of cooperation between the different municipalities in your area?
For instance, we make arrangements with several municipalities in our area, like Rotterdam, Schiedam, Vlaardingen, Capelle and IJssel, the main cities with a large number of inhabitants. We can't afford us that Schiedam chooses for other battles than Rotterdam. We are neighbors and we have to choose the same battle and the same target. That's one of the first things. The second thing is that Schiedam is located in a neighborhood of the Botlek Europort area. Mm-hmm. One of the most important and largest industrial and chemical plants in Europe. But the city in charge is the city of Rotterdam. So we have to deal with them, and we have a good cooperation to make plans, not only preventing but also solving problems. And the regional plan we have got in the Rijnmond is a very good example of cooperation between cities.